between the southwest of England and London Paddington rail station was washed out. Just one example of the chaos and the misery that the weather's caused this year. And believe it or not, it's only the second wettest year ever. 2012, the year it rained and rained and rained. We knew it had been the wettest year for England since records began, but from St Asaph in Wales and right across the UK to Stonehaven in Aberdeenshire, few, if any, parts of the UK escaped the downpours. Not as wet as the year 2000, that dubious record gained by just over 1/4 of an inch. The hosepipe ban in the east and southeast of England seems a distant memory now, a record dry March followed by a record wet April. And the Met Office believes heavy rain will continue to feature in our forecasts.
The Met Office is looking at a whole set of research about how our climate might be changing, and we're starting to look at patterns around how years are becoming wetter. And when we're looking back to the 1960s, what we're seeing is that over the last, since 1960s, some of our years are generally getting wetter, but also the extremes in our rainfall are getting wetter as well.
For farmers, it was a washout. Sodden fields and leaden skies meant the worst harvest for a generation, and a wet autumn hampered seed planting for the next crop. Stephen Watkins is an arable farmer in Worcestershire. He's lost a huge amount of money because of the flooding.
We've got currently about 850 acres underwater at the moment, which is obviously a lot more than I'd like to see, and that will run into hundreds of thousands of pounds in terms of damage, but also the significant extra cost that we have of picking up all the rubbish that we can see behind us. That takes a lot of man hours, and it's very demotivating for a small group of staff to actually say, well, here you are, you're going to spend the next month picking up this rubbish.
So what about this year? Could 2013 be just as damaging for agriculture, tourism and flood-prone areas? Not necessarily. 2011 was comparatively dry, and leading up to this very wet winter, previous winters had also been extremely dry. For such a relatively small set of islands, the UK